Not anymore. Hey, everybody. The 200's in the garage, finally. It's time to tackle some things with this to get it hopefully a little bit more roadworthy. We got three main things that are currently stopping me from taking it out on little cruises every now and again. Number one is the ever-increasingly complexity of my life. Number two is the constant vacuum leaks. We are endlessly fighting vacuum leaks, and it is time to tackle them and pretend that we can stop them, even though I know we can't. And number three is the differential is very loud. It sounds awful. So hopefully it just needs grease. We might as well put some grease in it and find out that the diff is actually bad. There's some other things. The exhaust is rattly and leaky. It's not great, but those main things are what's kind of preventing me from enjoying it. So let's try to take care of two of those, because the first one's never gonna happen. That intro audio was probably super blown out, and you know what? We're gonna use it anyway. We don't have time for re-recording. We're just gonna roll with it. Okay, so we have engine, and we have 2 packs of vacuum line. Is it enough? Probably not, but by golly, we're gonna make a start. Also today, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cone on the road in the garage. Let me position the camera logically, and we'll make this work. Let me close the garage door because the neighbor's on his tractor. Pretend that he's Farmer Jim. Although I'm sure there's some of you freaks watching right now that enjoy the sound of a old diesel tractor clacking around. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not one of them. Alright, well, let's dive into the real hornet's nest down here. So there's like an electric booster for the vacuum down here. Just a tiny little vacuum pump that helps with the cruise control module and all that stuff. I'm not ripping it out because I have delusions of being able to get the cruise control to work again someday. So we're just gonna replace all of these terrible vacuum lines that are splitting. I just realized the connector to this one is splitting, so that's gonna be fun. And I'm tempted to throw the car up on the jacks, on the quick jacks, just to get it to a little bit better height to be working on. This car is low. It's not low, it's at stock ride height. You can put a whole human cadaver in between the wheel well and the fender. It's just, the body is really low slung on this thing. It feels weirdly lower than the 240, it's strange. Yeah, let me do that. Let me get it up in the air. We're going to need to do that for the diff anywho. That's the sound my back makes in the morning and the afternoon and the evening. Nice. Good, good. All right, so I'm just going to start getting to it here. Hopefully this is the right size vacuum hose, 7/64 windshield washer hose vacuum tubing. I tried to put nice silicone hoses in here. I say nice, I don't really love silicone hoses, but it was what I could find at the time. That wasn't crappy parts store brand. But I couldn't find the right diameter, and the silicone hose has to be a much thicker wall to not collapse, and it wouldn't fit onto these fittings for the pump, so we're left with what we have here. Most of these hoses are very short, so I shouldn't need a lot. I hope, because I only have like 10 feet of it. So I'm not even going to say that it's been a while since I worked on it, because wait, I just said it. I literally just said it though. It's, oh, there's a big split in this one right here. It's been a struggle, a continued struggle, as of late, just to keep going on stuff. It's been the story for pretty much my entire life, where I'm always trying to do the best I can with what I have. It's kind of just how I was raised, almost. Not by choice, just by by chance more than anything. But it's kind of gotten old a little bit, you know? I guess everybody has their limits on this kind of thing. And I just feel like I've kind of reached my limit on that stuff. If I can't do a good job at something, if I can't do it well, if I can't put a full effort, time-wise or financially, into something, the reward is just not there for me. And it just constantly makes me more and more frustrated. Ooh, that one just uninstalled itself. Huge split. Hold on, I gotta show you. Every one of these hoses, every one of them, will you focus? Do I have to focus for you? That's pretty close. Every one of them is doing this. It's only these little guys. Oh, it's gone. Okay, well, hopefully you got to see. Yeah, it's just been ever increasingly hard to keep myself motivated when I'm not putting in the effort to get good results, and then I'm constantly getting bad results because the effort is too low to get the good reward. And I try not to place blame on any particular thing, but honestly, a lot of the blame for that rides in myself, where I'm constantly trying to do too much. I'm trying to do too many things with too little, instead of trying to do one thing well with the little I have. And I do feel like the whole infrastructure of making video is a big reason for that. It's a big part of it, because to be successful in that format, in that genre, in this genre, I guess, you are pretty much stuck with the format of constantly evolving and constantly chasing new. If you look at the most successful people, ooh, that one's hard to get to. Am I gonna have to unbolt you? I'd rather not, but I don't think I have a choice, because you are just too tricky to get to. I can't talk while I'm pulling with all my might, sorry. Well, that one sure didn't crack or want to fall off. It's so weird. This hose is just way more pliable and good than all the other ones. I'd still like to replace it, because it's still old. It's just strange how much different the condition of it is versus the others. So, where was I? The meta, I guess, the thing that is the way to go is to constantly be shifting your content, constantly be looking for new things and putting new things in front of people's faces. That's just the way it goes. There's exceptions to that rule. Some people make it work, but for the most part, it's the go-to trick. Well, here's the pickle with that. That's a takes money to make money kind of thing. You know, you gotta invest in a lot of stuff to make that work. And I've never had a lifestyle that aligned with that. And now that I'm a married father of child, really don't live that lifestyle. But I think it's obvious that to some degree I still chased it. I still tried. I think this car is a perfect example of that, where I thought, something new as far as a project goes, something that not a lot of people have messed with. I don't think a lot of people know much about these cars. Now that I've worked on one, I know for a fact not a lot of people know about these cars. Yeah, I was just looking for that spark, you know, something to really get some new eyeballs and get people excited again for my style of automotive content. And that was honestly a mistake. I should have just focused on what I already had and accepted that the more eyeballs and expanding upon what I've already built is as hopeless as finding that 10mm socket is. Okay, maybe not, I found it. But it's unlikely. It is very unlikely. So it's just not a good use of my time and resources. Now granted, I love this car and I love this project. So it's hard to just say, you know, it's a bad thing. It's just maybe not the right thing right now. The nice part is it's here. It's not going anywhere. I have it registered. I have a title. You know, it's as good as my project as it can get, thanks to the, you know, insane generosity of Blade, Robbie, my old roommate, and a lot of people that helped. I mean, there's a lot of names on this car that I wrote on here from people that helped this project move along. And, you know, I'm just super thankful to everybody that wanted to see something like this succeed. Oh, I got it. All right. Getting those screws back in is going to be fun. I just didn't want to break this little boost controller, not boost controller, but boost gauge signal box. Let me try and get a razor blade and make a tiny cut in it to relieve the pressure. Well, sorry for the background noise of the fan now, but I need it. That's why I'm out here today, is this is pretty much the last of the days in the 80 degrees that we have. So I won't be out here as much. Oh, that's metal. Well, I didn't have to worry about this as much as I thought. But at least it will get replaced, and we will know that it is good to go. At least as good to go as this O'Reilly's brand tubing is. Plop. I was getting pretty frustrated with the autocross stuff as well, just because of the ever-increasing amount of money people throw at autocross these days. Almost priced me out of having fun there, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous to say that, but I think I've gotten myself to a better place with that stuff lately. I have the 240 in a nice place right now that feels fun and competitive enough. The last event out, we managed to best modified Audi S5 in our class, which, I mean, the car is way faster than mine, and the driver is capable of going faster, but, you know, they just couldn't get a clean run in, basically. And that let us snag the little victory there. And it just feels good again. It does. It really, it feels more in line with how it was for me back when I started autocrossing, and that's made it fun. That's made it worth it again. It's a little harder these days to justify giving my day up to do it. Thankfully, we have pretty local events. That is an absolute lifesaver. So at least a few times a year, I get to go pretend that I'm somebody, and that's nice. So yeah, I've really not been too motivated to do anything with the 240, because I don't want to ruin the good thing that we already have going, you know? So I've just been trying to maintain it. You okay, AC? I've just been trying to maintain its status and keep it going. And that's working. And the same pretty much goes for the ramp truck as well. I just spent the whole day yesterday fixing the manifold on it because the collector, we'll just say the collector failed on it. We won't mention how or why or what happened, but that happened. And yeah, as much as I would love to finish restoring it, put a new wiring harness in it, paint it for sure, it also just kind of works enough as is that I just kind of have been letting it ride. But it's not as if I don't have the motivation to work on it anymore, because boy would I love to. I would love to get that thing, fully to the dream that I have for it. But that day may come, There may come a day where I can afford the time and cost to do something like that. But for now, I'm just happy to have it. And that's pretty much where I'm at with everything. I guess the delusion that I had was that projects like that would be something that would be significantly successful for me as a YouTuber, as a, in my quest for content. And the reality is, just because it's unique doesn't mean that it will be a thing. NEC sounds rough. Oh, it's just got a rattly thing on it. There we go. That's better. So yeah, that was a lot of words to basically just say that I've been doing less, not just because I've had less time, but also because I've been demotivated from lack of personal success and lack of commercial success. I haven't had a lot of personal victories with this stuff, and I haven't had a lot of not personal victories. It ain't, I don't want to say it's not paying the bills, because literally everybody that's watching this now, I would say 90% of you are either subscribed on Twitch or are a patron. Like, you're people that are literally keeping us in a house. That's the reality. But the difference is the live streaming stuff, the gaming stuff, it's the stuff I can put full effort into, and it's stuff that I can be entertaining and I feel like you get value out of. Versus the stuff I do here in the garage, it just doesn't feel like you get value out of it. I get value out of it because I enjoy it, and I know a lot of people want to see me do stuff that I enjoy, but that's hardly enough to justify the cost of doing business. It's not enough to justify me putting all the money that I earn back into doing stuff like this, because it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it doesn't end up gaining us anything. So it's just the truth of it. Like, it's just had to take a backseat, and that's the way it goes. I would say, I would like to say that I'm not depressed about it. I mean, I certainly have my days where I'm bummed about it, but that doesn't necessarily sell it in the right way, where I'm still super happy with everything that I have been able to do, and that I get to do stuff like this at all is, to me, just a miracle. And the fact that I'm still doing it, I was sure at the end of last year that I was gonna have to call it quits and do something else. And it didn't end up going that way. Interlude. This little adapter piece that takes us from 64ths up to the other one. Where'd that package go? I yeeted that package. No, it takes us from 7/64. Oh, I bought two 7/64. Oh, I did. Wow, I'm surprised by me. Well, it takes us up from the little one. Hi, look at my face. Oh, I'm filthy. Good, great. That's how you get. This is how you get views right here. This is it. It takes you from. You just lost focus immediately, didn't you? You silly little goose. Little size up to the big size. It's got a big crack in it. Well, the good news is, it looks like the hose will just go. It'll stretch over the other side of it. So I'm just gonna nullify this. There's so many little connectors and extensions and weird vacuum oddities in here that nobody could explain. Nobody could explain. Nobody should explain. There's too much good going on overall in my life for me to justify being upset about what isn't going good. And that's where I've been trying to, like, pick myself up a little bit. Like, the fact that I'm still doing this stuff, and the fact that I feel like I've kind of re-kickstarted my live streaming stuff back up. The fact that I've got people like Netflix are working with me on the crowd control thing for BeamNG. The fact that the automation guys, are always willing to step up and give me, I don't want to say exclusive content, but they give me the tools I need to make good content. I'm incredibly lucky to have resources like that, and I'm happy that I've been making the best of it. So that's where I've just been focusing my efforts, and it sounds stupid to say it, but I'm just trying my best to be okay with that, because I need to be okay with that. Oh, this is the long tube here. We got a long tube. I think this one goes straight to the cruise control. Gosh, this might be the rest of my tube or more. More? Oh, that is so close. Oh, it's gonna work. See, sometimes things work out. Sometimes things work out. I don't think me or Paint, if you are somehow new here and don't know what I'm talking about, Paint is my wife, expected our lives to be quite as challenging as they have been since becoming parents. And I'm sure this happens with all new parents, especially, I'm going to regret saying this, especially new parents that aren't, wealthy people. And I don't think that it's easy for wealthy people, but there's a whole set of extra challenges when you're not. I don't think either of us expected it to be quite as difficult of a transition as it has been. Not just because, parenting is hard, and by the way, parenting is hard, but also because we just, keep endlessly finding new ways to have issues, and a lot of that unfortunately stems back to both of our health, and it's just been a never-ending battle for the last, honestly, like 3 years. I don't think both me and Paint have been truly healthy at the same time, at least, since the bean was born. Unfortunately, for Paint, it's been really difficult. It's been a constant battle, not only health-wise, but also health-care-wise. Even just getting the care that she needs to get better has been so difficult, and that really has an effect on you. That is way more hose than I need. Well, I guess I'll just leave it. Should I just leave it? Or should I cut it back? just as long as they had it. They just had it kind of looped like this. And I guess a little slack is a good thing. So that goes up to here. We'll tie all of these together. I still have all these cool factory little ties, twist ties. I like these, actually. Is that all of the hoses over here? I think that might be all of the hoses over here. They all look new. None of them have lines on them like the factory ones. Okay. Cap. Let me look for the... Let me rustle around in here a little bit and look for those caps. I'll just keep talking. Yeah, it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 months trying to get Paint to get seen by a doctor for her recent issues, and it's just how it is. That's the way that it's quote-unquote supposed to work. If you're not facing some kind of life-threatening condition, you'll get seen when you get seen, and that's how it is. But it has meant that we very rarely have a day where both of us are at 100%, and that's when you're parents of a young child. If you're not at 100%, you're outnumbered. That's how it works. So that has been hard. But on the flip side of that, I have gotten the gift of being able to actually... Oh, I thought I had found... Oh, I did find them. Look at me. I don't think these are new. I think these are old. Oh, I have 2 boxes of them? Well, I hope I didn't buy new boxes of these then. I've gotten the gift of being essentially stay-at-home dad for the last 1.5 years. You know, I'm working as much as I can, but I'm also, I would say, full-time dadding, and that has been incredible. Like that has been a really rewarding experience. She has basically gotten 2 full-time parents for the first 1.5 years of her life, and that's not a thing that a lot of people get to say, you know. And I don't take that for granted, that's for sure. I do really, really value the fact that we have been able to do that. I hope that someday, I don't want to say that she appreciates it, I just hope to someday see that had a positive effect. Oh, that one worked. Okay. Man, I had these vacuum caps all this time, and I could have replaced this terrible little piece of weed eater fuel line with a screw in it that I've been using as a cap for a year. Oh, brains, you're so weird. You're so weird. But that's been, you know, just part of the complexities of life as of late. I don't want to make it sound like we're unique to that in any way, because I know that we're not. Everybody has their struggles. Every parent has their struggles. Every family has their struggles. But for us, it certainly hasn't been easy. And a large part of that I have been definitely dealing with guilt of, because I am personally responsible for a large part of it, in that I decided to move us far away from both of our families. So in essence, we're doing this on our own, like just literally just the 2 of us. Looks like I'm not going to need this, but I'm glad to have it. The effects of that, I do worry that it's going to have a negative effect on her, not just us, on the bean, because she's not getting the same kind of like social experience that I think a lot of kids get She's just stuck with us two, which she probably gets a little bored of us on occasion. I just remembered I never replaced this coil. Let's do it. And it's not just like, haha, she gets bored of us. It does, affect certain aspects of your growing up too. And our pediatrician noticed that recently, where she's lacking in some of the social and communication stuff. And thankfully, he was awesome enough to get us some help for that stuff. But I definitely carry a little bit of a load of guilt there, even if it's not warranted, just for having set us up in that kind of situation where we are so isolated. Not helped by the fact that, sure, what I do for a living is basically working with people and working in communicating with people, but our day-to-day lives, we don't communicate with anyone. The most communication we do with people is maybe the 2 or 3 people we'll interact with at a grocery store, or maybe some parents at the park. It's a totally different experience than I think a lot of people get, where you're mingling with work friends and you're more part of the community and stuff like that. We are not really part of our community. We just live in the community. And that's because I'm home all the time. Paint's home all the time. And that's where we kind of have to be in order to make our living. All right, I gotta remember which coil was the bad one. I'm pretty sure it's this one, the intake one. Let me confirm with ZK real quick. Before I do a dum-dum, the intake coil is the one I needed to replace, right? Asking ZK. A massive thanks to people like ZK. ZK and Vanka both have been our guiding light through parenthood, because they're kind of my closest friends, our closest friends these days, and they are in the same kind of phases of parenthood as us. I don't know how they do it. Wow, this one's nice. That's like authentic NGK. Everything. Sick. 2 versus 1, or 2 versus 2, I guess I should say. It is, it's incredible that they have the time even just to be as helpful to us as they have been. Not just like the fact that for like the first year of her life, they would send us care packages of like, their old clothing that they had outgrown, baby toys and everything, just all of the stuff that we didn't think of or they came across that realized that was helpful, they would send to us. And just the random 3 a.m. Text message of, oh my God, she's doing this. What should we do? They were just always there for us, and still are when it comes to that stuff. So I'm super thankful to have my internet friendos, even if it's not a traditional friendship. They're still massively important to me and to us. And then, Powers has been massively helpful as well. Ah, shoot. Where'd you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Come back. I miss you, Screw. I don't remember if it was a cone on the road or when it was that I kind of put out the little call to action of like, hey, if you know anybody that needs video editing done, let me know, because I'd love to get into video editing. Unfortunately, that didn't really go anywhere for me. I haven't found anybody that needs my particular set of skills when it comes to that. I have kind of a niche set of skills in that way. But Powers has been coming through for me because he's been able to do more stuff automotively than me, but he doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't have the time or if he just doesn't have the motivation or if he just is being nice. But either way, he's been reaching out to me to help him edit his stuff, and that has really been important to me It's keeping my creative urges occupied. As much as I miss doing this kind of stuff on the regular, his needs there have created for me an opportunity to feel like I'm still involved with this stuff, and that's been massively important. Armo's been very helpful, that's for sure. Just, I don't know, Armo I feel like has become my personal, I don't want to say like shoulder to lean on or shoulder to cry on, but it is kind of like that. And I feel like he's naturally gifted at that role of being like the person to confide in, I guess is the word. Yeah. And then I have just a whole slew of internet friends that all have, I don't know, just different impacts in my life that they are uniquely skilled at doing a particular thing or helping with a particular thing, and I'm really thankful for that. It's not like I'm just down on being a content creator or down on living a kind of sheltered lifestyle. I just recognize that I think there's some faults in it, and those faults have made life harder for us. I'm sure if I worked a regular job, I would have met lots of great people there too, or if I was, more part of the community or whatever, I should check the messages and see if CK's like, no, it was the exhaust. He hasn't replied yet. All right, just going to my intuition then. My intuition only lets me down most of the time. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, I should be able to back these out and slide this out. This looks like a no-name coil. I wonder if it was just bad. I wonder if it was just literally a DOA coil. That stuff happens a lot these days. Especially when you're buying cheap stuff like I do. Yeah. I just don't know what the future holds. I'm just going, I'm just doing. Every day is a surprise. This is not the right coil. 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 Why would I just realize this now, that this is not the right coil? We ordered this coil specifically. It's 2-pin, but it's got a plug on it. It doesn't have the 2 back pins on it. Ah, because this is the one for, I don't know. Everything else is right. It's just got a different, it's got that style instead of that style. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Well, I guess we're gonna pause here because I gotta talk to Mr. Mans. The official word is we have no idea why it's different. I don't actually have that official word. I'm just assuming. So let's do the stinky job, huh? Hey, that's easy to see. Hopefully you can see it. Drain, fill. All right. Put in your bets. Is there anything in there at all? Where are my gloves? There's one thing I don't love. It's the smell of rear end grease. So what we're hoping for here is that I remove that lower drain plug and nothing or next to nothing comes out. That's what we're hoping for. Or water. Or flubber. Or I don't know. Anything but grease. Well, I guess we're also going to hope that it's not pure metal flake. Because it turns out finding dips for these is actually not that easy. It is, of course, a fairly unique piece. Because why wouldn't it be? So I'll use an extension. Okay. Let's see. Oh boy, that's never been taken out. Am I gonna have to use a breaker bar? Possibly. Oh my. Oh my. It's gonna interfere with the ground. Think about it. Think about geometry, Cone. You can do this, right? Do I need to raise the car all the way up? Maybe. That would do it. There it goes. Okay. That should be enough. That should be enough. Here. Do it with a ratchet. Yep. All right. Please be nothing. Please be nothing. Oh, no. It was full. That was full. It was either full or darn close to it. I guess the hunt for a diff is gonna be on. Oh, it's pretty gnarly. I mean, it's got some metal, but I've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse than that. No, not even a chunky bit. I mean, that's as much metal as power as his Jeep engine makes in like 30 seconds. Well, we'll change it anyway and hope for the best and expect the worst. That's what they say, right? All right, let's try to get the other one out. I mean, as far as, stuff that I'm excited about goes, not excited about whatever just fell into my damn eye. Cone, you have goggles, use them. You can't afford to get your eye drilled out. Goggles and gauge. Actually, the car's gotta go up, because this one's at a weird angle. Even at this height, there's no angle on the dangle. What about the other way? Let's put that plug back in so I don't get rear end grease in my hair. It's an angle. Okay, it broke free at least. I'm probably gonna have to lean into it with the ratchet, but it should go. Yeah. Well, the good news is the diff doesn't leak. That's the only good news I can think of at the moment. But that is the good news. Yeah, I guess I'll clean off the drain of all its metal debris. If there's anybody still watching at this point, please make a comment stating that there's probably a nut in the differential. That's what I want you to comment. Probably a nut in the differential. Decent sized chunks on there, but nothing crazy. I hope this is just a perfect view of the tears in my coveralls. That's what I hope. But yeah, I'm really into the automation stuff again. I feel way re-inspired about making automation video content again. Not just because I've been more involved with that stuff again. Oh, this is just a good view of my wonderful, wonderful backside. Not just because I'm more involved with it again, but also I think it's in a good place again, I would say, development-wise, and an exciting place. So, obviously doing that collab with Automotive Flux, I mean, really thankful to him for agreeing to do it. It's always I feel a little risky, asking somebody that has a much bigger channel than you to do a collab, but also agreeing to it, because you never know what the quality you're going to get out of that is, and you never know if they're just in it to try to like sucker your viewers. But I think he understood that that wasn't what this was about, and it was just something cool that we could do. But yeah, I'm excited to do more stuff like that. And, you know, it kind of takes me away from working out here in a little bit. But I think it's worth it. And I really do love the game. Love both games, actually. So it's worth it. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Now that's the content people are looking for. Ooh, there we go. Oh, there you go, Colin. Use your noggin. As Al says, use your brain. Oh, I just unplugged this ground. Oh, I broke it off, in fact. There's a little ground strap on the gas tank that is no more. Ah, who needs to ground your gas tank? Sparks back there is no problem. All right, well, I think that's all the time I have for today. It's got to be getting close to dinner time. So I'm going to go in, make some burgers for the fam, and hopefully come out here again this weekend and figure out what we got to do with that coil. And I'd like to drive the darn thing, but it might not happen. It's a new day. So I went ahead and went to AutoZone this morning and got the right coil, we hope. This is a coil for this car. So the confusion was we converted this car to use D21 Nissan, basically KAE igniters for the coil system. ZK, and I guess me as well, thought that we had gone to D21 coils as well, but we did not. We have retained the 200 coils. I think we could use the D21 coils. It would just be a matter of getting the pigtails for them. However, for the sake of simplicity, I think what we're going to go ahead and do is use the factory coil, and hope that solves our issues. So we're going to be using the D21 igniter and the oh yeah, that is correct, and the 200SX coil. I actually don't fully know that it's bad. It's just one of those assumed things, and we will find out when we get it installed and running again. We should be able to get it back together and take it out for a little ride today. I am moving a little slow. My old back injury decided that it wanted to rear its ugly head today, but I'm just powering through. I started editing what I had started with yesterday, this morning, and I think I said some pretty decent things there. I definitely feel like, I don't know, a little ashamed of the fact that so many videos that I publish are me talking about how much I wish I could do better videos. It does seem like a repeating theme. But I'm also just kind of like, I don't know, that's who I am. I'm a straight from the hip kind of guy. If it's on my mind, I gotta speak it. And you're the oh so fortunate recipients of that stream of consciousness. As long as you know I really do appreciate anybody that does take the time to listen. It takes a lot of weight off of my brain. Now I think I have the coils swapped currently, so I'm signaling to one of them. I'm signaling to the exhaust for the intake side, because the exhaust coil was working, but the exhaust coil signal only works under low load. So I'm signaling the intake, or signaling the exhaust coil with the intake signal. My brain hurts already. I'm going to switch it, is what I'm saying, and see if everything is working. And I should be able to unplug them independently and see if the engine misbehaves with one versus the other. You know, my dad always steered me away from owning one of those 720 Datsun pickups with the Z24 motor because it had the 8-plug setup. And in my brain, I was always like, what could be so complicated? It's just an extra set of spark plugs. And he was right. It really shouldn't be that complicated, but they were trying to do so much with so little technological advancement that it just ends up being an overly complicated system. And it was such a short-lived system that the aftermarket and replacement parts for them is, well, a wild goose hunt. That's just what it is. And we ended up doing some, crazy retrofits like we've done here to make things work again. Hopefully. All right, yes, I did have them switched, I can tell, because of the length of wire. Yeah. These now go more naturally to where they should be. Okay, we'll put the mass airflow sensor back on. Someday maybe I'll get an adapter for this thing, a mass airflow adapter that actually, doesn't have a duct tape hole on it. Probably not. Come on, this engine survived with multiple pecans in it. I think it can handle a little bit of dust. I should have tested all of this stuff before I put the air filter on, but it'll be okay. It will be okay. You're good to go. I've left the battery plugged in all night, so hopefully it's not drained down. Unsurprisingly, this car definitely has some parasitic draw, which, if you've ever tried to diagnose parasitic draws before, it ain't fun. All right, well, I don't know where the mic died in that process, unfortunately. So the current situation is nothing changed with the new coil, so therefore that other coil was fine. Well, we got a backup coil now, and basically it will only run quote-unquote right with the signal wires switched. So if the exhaust coil is being signaled by the intake side of the ECU, then it runs fine. If the exhaust coil is only powered by, or only signaled by the exhaust side, it runs fine, but it will cut out under load as it's programmed to do. If it's just running on the intake side and it's just signaled on the intake side, then it just misfires and runs terrible. Why that is, I don't know. I'm not sure we'll ever figure it out. If it runs fine as it is, honestly, this thing can run on just one set of spark plugs. And if it will do that, then we'll just live with that. The CAET in Europe only had the one set of spark plugs. It should really just be able to do it just fine. While we were waiting for the stuff to recharge, I went ahead and buttoned up some exhaust stuff, so it should be less rattly. Let's get it on the ground, let's get it on the street, and see what our status is. Someone needs to develop some kind of ramp system that lets you drive over quick jacks so that you don't have to move them in and out every time. I would very much so be appreciative of that. Alternator will be angry. Still don't know exactly what's going on with the alternator being angry. Sometimes it's real bad, sometimes it's not. What's weird is if the battery is very well charged, the alternator screams worse. Riddle me that one. We'll definitely take this with us, considering. All right, everyone. I have updates, and that is we're cruising great. Like, this car is just going down the road, and as you can hear, no rear end noise. No, that's just on coast. It is howling. And the faster you go, the louder it gets. So it's definitely rear end. It's definitely differential, not transmission. So that's unfortunate. It doesn't affect the way that it drives at all. That's totally fine. It shifts great. The clutch is really good. The brakes are good. And it comes down to an idle fine. Pulls away just fine. I heard a little tire squeal even. Yeah, I mean, it drives really good. It definitely has a hiccup every now and again, but I think some of that is just the fact that it's very small engine, turbocharged, doing the best it can. And I'm used to kind of running at a lower RPM than this thing is running at currently. Yeah, right there, it kind of like just in that space between on throttle and off throttle, it'll have a little like that's pretty normal. Still pulling the right vacuum. It does make boost, not a lot, but it makes it. It's very hilarious to take through turns because it's got very sticky tires and very soft suspension. Lean into it. All right, we got a bit of stretch of open road here and a lot of stuff floating around in the interior. Shall we do a 0 to 60 unofficially? Yeah, I think the brakes need a little bit more bleeding, but they work just fine. This is mostly a flat section, and we're off. Foot to the floor. This third. 60. Despite missing third. I'm not used to these stock gates. It's just like way further over than I'm used to. But I did it. That's a win. No, actually, it runs really good. It is nowhere near as slow as I imagined it would be. It is very capable of doing highway speeds. It can get out of its own way. Alright, we'll hit highway speeds here. Listen to it. Ooh, duck it. But you know what? From being asleep for... Oh, alternator. Come on. Come on. Come back. I'm gonna find third one of these days. For being asleep for what, I would say at least 10 years, probably 20. This car, with this much electronic craziness in it, I'm really proud of the fact that it's doing what it's doing. And it's a good driving little car. She's soft. it's wibbly and wobbly, but everything that I like about the 240 is here. It's just a little softer. It's a little more, I don't want to say luxury focused, but it's just, you can just tell it's a little heftier and a little bit more solid than the 240 is. The powertrain, though, I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised at how non-completely anemic the CA is. I don't ever want to put like coilovers on this. I want it to be soft and floaty forever. My dream is to autocross it with this suspension. Like, we'll replace the bushings, we'll get the brakes, 100% dialed in, and I just want to chuck this thing around cones with it doing that. Look at that. Look at all these gauges working. Don't mind the occasional oil pressure flicker. That sensor's coming around. It works sometimes, it works. Doesn't work sometimes, but it's coming around. But yeah, everything is functional. So, I mean, I could drive it around town, but with that rear end howling like that, I wouldn't dare take it autocrossing for sure, but even really on long trips, because you never know when that thing's gonna seize up or break, or who knows what would happen to it. Maybe it would just be noisy forever and actually be fine, but I'd rather not find out. Windows go down, sunroof is open. This was the dream. This would be a great first car for someone. It's fun. You're not really going to get into trouble with it. I know times have changed, and a first car that's this unsafe is no longer okay, no longer the norm. But this is approachable fun. Let's try another attempt. There we go. 60! That uphill was bigger than I thought it was. Or at least it felt like it with 130 horsepower. I'm not quite revving it to the moon either. Sorry, ZK. It's been sleeping a long time. We gotta give it a chance to come around. But you gotta use it all with this car. There's no shifting at 4. If you're not shifting at 5, you ain't going. Well, good job, Wally. That was your absolute